right, and welcome to Friday Facts number 416. And I have my good, I have my lube, and I have my good friend, Mojo. How you doing?
Hello, how we doing?
All right, I've got the lube, and we're getting the fluids. You ready?
Right, Railgun's got the lube as well.
Well, I've got the lube for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There was some conversation on the Discord, Factorio Discord, that it was actually Clonan's lube.
Oh, it was Clonan's lube, was it? Okay.
Yeah, we're all sharing Clonan's lube.
Okay, cool. All right, so we have reached the breaking point. It's no secret that Factorio's fluid system is unpredictable, unintuitive, at times frustrating. It's perfectly predictable. You just need a pump. You need a pump, and then if you want the pipe to go anywhere, you need a pump. And then after that pump, you need a pump. And then as long as you have enough pumps, the fluids work perfectly fine.
Yes, it is true.
I have had this problem many times, and the answer is a pump.
Just add pump.
You just add pump. Just add a pump every single time. Pump. And pump is good for 1,000 units of fluid per second. You want to go over that? You need multiple pumps and probably multiple pipes.
When you reach the point of multiple pipes, just parallel the pipes.
Yeah, but don't connect them. Don't connect them. They have to be separately.
You do join them into a giant unholy monstrosity.
Oh, no, please don't do that. Please don't do that. The fluids go around in circles. Run parallel pipes in undergrounds, and if they need to join up, they go through a tank. Okay, a tank is not a tank. It's a merging process for multiple liquid fluids to merge together into a tank.
It's where you join the heavy oil, the light oil, and the gas oil all into one, isn't it?
You can do that only if you're really good at then unmixing them afterwards. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different video. So, the fluid system. Oh boy. Okay. The biggest problem is people don't know how it works. You need more pumps. Throughput can vary depending on the order the pipes were built in. That is a separate problem. Generally, add a pump will overcome that problem.
Pumps overcome that problem.
Yep.
There's nothing better than seeing fluid go in one, in from the top and then out through the right, and then for some reason one specific machine on the left gets all the fluid.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Pump.
Everything on the right.
If you had a pump, you had more pressure, it wouldn't be a problem.
Yep.
As
we say, pump fixes it.
Yeah, pumps fix everything. Pumps and pressure. Okay. And if the pipes are getting low, then you need more. Okay. If all the pipes are full all the time, is never a problem. So there've been many attempts to rewrite the fluid system, but all in a failure for one reason or another. The existing algorithm was pretty fast and works well enough for standard vanilla gameplay, and we tried to leave it alone as much as possible. However, during a playtest of Space Age, it became clear the existing system would no longer do the job. The production scaling afforded by new machines and quality brought the flow algorithm to its knees. So we need to stop and talk about that because we're in Friday Night Facts number 416.
Yes. And
a quick trip back to 260.
Down memory lane, all the way back to 260.
Yep, back in the year 2018, so a few years ago. This is Dominic, my first Friday Facts post ever. I used the opportunity to talk to you about the exciting subject of pipes. Yeah, I know, right. Spring came with it and Tinson said, pipes suck. 2 people already tried fixing it. This is 2 fixes in already.
Yes, we're already 2 fixes in at this point.
Yeah. Who wants to be next? I'm like, hey, it's just pipes. You can make a simple solution. Simple. I'm in. Okay, cool. Dominic in 216 at 271.
271. So this is I think that's when the cover page was done. Cover page art. This one was about.
This was Games Done Quick. Games Done Quick in 2018, where they did a poster.
Yeah.
So
I think that's where the card that's in Steam now came from.
Yeah, I think it's where one of the cards were. Dominic's just finished stage 1 of pipes. So move all the fluid logic into a separate system. So they went and they made it multi-core, okay? They went and they made it parallelized, okay? The fluid runs on its own processing system. That's very important. So he hasn't done anything else. He hasn't merged straight sections of pipe into segments, and he hasn't tweaked the fluid flow, which will not be an optimization, but a gameplay mechanic improvement from Friday Facts 260. So they reference back that. And we've made sure that, it's been optimized, now it's parallelized, and, multi-cores, all those CPUs doing new things. And then in Friday Facts 274, so 3 weeks later, we have Fluid System 2, Dominic, who is updated fluids, pretty much finished, speculations, algorithm at work, blah, blah, blah. The volume of fluid box, corresponding height, we got a debug, so we actually see what fluids were doing, very handy. And we got some maths, and we made sure that fluids spread the way they were meant to through forks and stuff. And
Then
Is
we
this?
got fluid mixing removed.
Yep. We got an update, so we got an optimization that was very important. We removed fluid mixing. So you couldn't have two fluids in a pipe. By the way, you can have two fluids in a pipe in current Factorio 1.1, because they decided that was too hard, and that broke. And then Friday Facts 309. Where we still had fluid problems. There were a long list of fluid problems. What was planned didn't happen as predicted. So Friday Facts 309, we brought up fluids again, and Weebags, which I believe he's left the team, hasn't he? Or he's still with the team?
I believe so. I'd have to double check that, but it's a name that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I have a feeling Weebags went on to do other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of Dominic's improvements still hang around with the system, but not all of them, because there were problems. And Waybags made the comment that fluids should just handle like electricity, because it just works. It really
it just works. It's a lot simpler.
Works. Yep.
And does the job. It isn't confusing.
Capital Industry, fluids handle like a belt in Capital Industry. The catch is you can only have one item on the belt at a time. That's really the only proviso with Capital Industry. There is only one item on a belt segment at once. So it's all one giant long segment, and it travels at the same speed like an item would on a belt. And you only have one item in a pipe, i.e. in a belt segment at once. That's pretty much all the prizes they've put on there, and it works pretty well. It also is
pretty well
directionally.
But it's slightly inconvenient when you want to have the poop water and the sour water go down the same pipe at the same time.
Well, as long as they're very short pipe segments, that's perfectly acceptable, and you can do that. The biggest problem actually in Capital Industry is you can't have a fluid come into a pipe and it operate like a tank where it could go left or it could go right, and you could have that back and forward flow. That's one thing that Factorio has that Capital Industry doesn't. Capital Industry answer is just make a long pipe that goes all the way to the right and then comes all the way back to the left and then loops back to where you are. Yeah. So in Fluids 2.0, we have quality and things not working as intended, and consequently, due to the wonderful way fluids work, well, only the first couple of machines that are doing cracking are actually working, because that is a shit ton of productivity modules with a shit ton of speed beacons with a shit ton of quality in everything. Which
I mean, the quality is adding to it, but it's actually only an 8.8 beacon build. It's not even as fast as it's not even its final form.
No, it's not. It's not. We could go all the way up to a 12 beacon. 12 beacon? Is it 12 in a round up?
Yeah, 12 beacon, fully surrounding it with beacons.
Yep. So this is equivalent to 3 normal builds in our current Factorio.
It basically looks like a standard Factorio extended tier 3 build.
Yeah, pretty much. The cute thing is that I
remember seeing this many times in trying to make those stupid builds work.
Yeah, there's only 2 machines running because the pipes are just broken with all the other machines. They're just not working, and it's not the first 2. It's the first one and the third one because Factorio fluid reasons. Okay.
Because remember how I said before, the fluid flow, most of it all flows right, except for this one on the left.
Yeah.
For some reason, is fully loaded, but this one specific machine only.
We
not
come
any other.
Back to the little diagram with all the fluids flowing correctly. That got
and all being nice and balanced and everything.
That got thrown out. So attempt to avoid a total rewrite. We first tried increasing the throughput by increasing the pipe volume. This was back in 15, right? 15 to 16
times, I think.
No, I'm pretty sure it's
for this one, this is the here and now. So talking about what they've been doing in the last year or 2.
Oh, okay. We're not referring to the 15 to 16 where rather than needing 1 crude oil, everything was 10 times crude oil because all the pipes got to increase by a factor of 10 because they did that on fixed pipes and fluids.
There was what was the reason for that? I forget. There was a reason for that happened, and I forget what it was.
The answer was so every pipe would be more full of liquid because the way Factorio pipes work is it's whatever's in fluid box number 1, half of that gets moved to fluid box 2, and then half of that gets moved to fluid box 3, and that happens every tick. With the proviso that some pipes are processed faster or earlier in the queue than other pipes. So sometimes it does flow, and sometimes it doesn't flow, and sometimes it takes 2 ticks, and sometimes it takes 1 tick. It all depends on the order you put down the pipes and where they are in the memory and which one gets processed in what order. It's a thing.
And the orientation, and then like the orientation because it's 0, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they map differently to what you think they do.
Yeah.
They're not cardinal directions.
So
I think there was some rounding errors as well with the old one.
maybe there's been a few things, but it did lead to a small problem. But like flamethrower turrets were buffering tens of thousands of units of liquid fluid. Yeah, that's the thing. Just put more pumps, more liquid, more pipes.
More
Problem
pumps.
solved.
Yep.
Yep.
As a side note, this is how most mods solve the problem: is they just increase the buffer sizes. So like pipes, instead of being 150 or 100 fluid, they
It's 100.
200, 300,
Yeah,
400.
and there have been
depending
mods
on the
that
tier.
yeah, you go. Well, I've seen 1,000. I've seen it. 100, then we just go straight to 1,000. And if you have 1,000, then there's more fluid that can be in that pipe at once, and therefore more fluid can be to the next segment at the next tick, therefore more flow overall. But they just increase everything by a factor of 10, and voila, problems are solved. Mostly. Add more pumps. All right. So they were extremely dissatisfied with this conclusion. The volume hack was a band-aid to hide the problem rather than a well-performed fix. Sometimes it's easy to ask for forgiveness, ask for permission. So I took a risk and began to rewrite the fluid system. Oh, yay! So
That only works until you build like a $90 million tower that has to be pulled down.
it's fine. It's just a simple rewrite.
Fine.
Yeah. So a new
Just
algorithm.
a rewrite.
Do you remember one of the fluid discussions? City proposed an algorithm very close to the one he had played with several times. The algorithm for the Minecraft mod thermal expansion by the team COFH, which I might be a modder in Factor. I remember the name,
Vaguely remember.
and I don't remember Minecraft, so I maybe a Factorio modder.
From what I recall of thermal expansion, it's kind of electric network, but it isn't. It sends it out as packets.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
It'll
Whatever.
somewhat be illuminate as we go on.
Okay. Pipes, underground pipes, and storage tanks are merged into fluid segments, like a belt. Currently, we have a belt. If you have 200,
like a belt transport line.
Yep, if you have 200 bits of belt that are all in a straight line, they're all considered one segment. They're all good. They're all processed as one single belt. Each segment inherits the volume from the fluid boxes that comprise it and can hold one fluid. Much like Captain Ministry, it's just going to hold one fluid. It is going to be slightly different, that it's like not like one fluid pipe. It's like one giant fluid tank. And if you add something at one end, it's instantly available at the other end because it's a tank. Machines that can push fluid into a segment with an unlimited rate and can pull from a segment at a rate proportional to how full the segment is. In other words, if a segment is half full, then the pulling rate is half of the maximum. So again, more pumps, more fluids in the pipes, generally going to have a better idea, a better day. Yep. As a special case, pumps can pull at a faster rate if they're connected directly to a storage tank. So, i.e., bigger buffer.
I think it's specifically connected to a storage tank.
Well, it's. I guess it's that Factorio way of like, if you have a tank, you have a bigger buffer, therefore you can move stuff faster.
Yeah.
Because like a tank holds 25k, and a pump moves. It's more than 25k per tick.
It's like 12,000 a tick, or
Is it?
a second or tick. A second. It's 12,000 a second a pump.
Oh, I think it's higher than that, but whatever. It's ridiculously high. There is no longer a realistic fluid flow through the pipes. Fluid pushed in a segment can be immediately available at any point along the segment. This is the nuclear electric network type solution that was discussed in previous Friday Facts. The results in pipes just work, and you almost never have to worry about throughput. So we've basically turned pipes into electrical poles. Power goes,
but not quite, because power doesn't have any intermediate steps, whereas this does.
well, this has like a substation to force flow, i.e. a pump, and a directionality, but very common that once it's in one part, it can be accessed any other part.
Yeah, it still needs to be passed to the different segments. That's why I say it's not quite the same as the electric network.
Not quite, very close, very
because it still has, it's still a tree of branches. It's just not as big as it was before, where each tile was a individual piece.
So we have a wonderful demonstration. So green represents the amount of fluid in the entity. Blue represents the amount of flow through the entity on that tick. So this is fluid pipes. This is the old system. Okay, we only want to go to 8 seconds of this video because that's all the demonstration we need. So short pipes do good, long pipes do bad. 8 seconds. Can we stop there? Okay. So we have lots of fluid at the start of the pipe, and then as we get further and further on, we have less fluid, and this tank is
less and less.
bugger all full, and this one's very full, and that one's reasonably full. Okay, new video. New system. Segments are a single unit, so fluid no longer propagates across the pipeline. Longer pipelines have a higher throughput, but take longer to fully empty. The exact throughput numbers are subject to change based on further playtesting. So we don't have exact numbers yet, which is going to be interesting because the old rule of thumb was 1,000 per second.
And it dropped off very exponentially as well. It was like if for any high throughput, it was like no more than 6 tiles.
No. It was like
dropped off too much.
No, you could go further than 6. You could go like 10 or so on that.
Yeah, for most. It was when you're getting into the Factorio extended stuff, you're down into 1 to 6 tiles, or just a massive chain of pumps.
Massive change of pumps, or pump tank, which is my favorite.
To be fair, though, a chain of pumps is a 1x2 pipe versus a 1x1 pipe, so there were a lot of advantages to chaining pumps.
But also pump tank is a 1 to 3. See, Mojo, big brain right there. Yep.
Yeah.
And also lets you move up and down like up the tiles. Very handy.
Multiple holes.
Yep. And again, 8 seconds is so. The biggest thing is the green bars are full, and in 8 seconds the tank at the top is very empty. And the one at the bottom, the outgoing tank is very empty. The incoming tank is almost filled up.
It's full.
And it's just going to take the extra, 28 seconds for that to drain.
Sucking in the last of the liquid in the pipe.
Yeah.
So there is still the latency of the fluid moving through the pipe. It's just...
Only... No. Hang on. Only if you want to drain the pipe. If you don't want to drain the pipe... because it's got a constant flow, then this flow throughput is amazing compared to what we've had previously. So
I'm going to appreciate that term. We're going to make that a thing. Flow put.
Flow throughput. Okay, flow put. Okay, sure.
The flow put of the pipe.
The flow put of the pipe. All right. The old junction system functioned relatively okay with straight pipelines, but as the junction was formed, everything would fall apart. The amount of fluid flowing each side of the junction would be different based on the order the entities were built.
Not enough pumps.
Correct. Not enough pumps, and you don't need this extra pipe segment.
You don't need. You get rid of that. See, the mistake with this build is exactly that pipe segment, and one pipe segment.
The mistake is you want to pump into a pipe. You should pump into a tank, and then from the tank you can split that twice. So you have the other 2 outputs become 2 pumps, and then those 2 pumps go to 2 tanks, and then those 2 tanks you have 2 pipes out. 2 pumps out, and therefore you still end up with a 1 to 4 split, except it's all done by pumps, and therefore you don't have this problem, and you get a much more even flow because it's all done with pumps.
The way it depends on what you're trying to do. If you wanted to divide evenly between all 4 tanks,
add circuits.
So you'd either pull them in so that you get rid of that pipe, or you would push it, you would have to push it down to get the other pump, the second pump in, the vertical pump in. And then you would add combinators to each of the pumps.
No, because that's going to introduce a delay tick. Okay, it's always going to be 1 tick behind. Okay, pump tank, and then out of this tank 2 pumps into 2 tanks, and then out of those 2 tanks 4 pumps. It's a 1 to 4, and it's all done through tanks. Okay, it's simple. Okay, it's all tanks. It's all pumps. All right, pipes are useless. Don't worry about pipes. You only use a pipe if you need to actually traverse any distance. And even then, you use an underground pipe.
Use underground, yes.
Yeah, you don't use a normal pipe. So, with a new system...
Don't climb over normal pipes.
They're very tall. They're very tall.
Very tall.
And you have very little legs.
Yes. Pipes are surprisingly difficult to jump.
Well, there are some of the pipes I'm like, can't we just climb under? Like, the character's not that tall. Can he not just slide under a pipe occasionally? Like, a pump's a little bit different, a tank's a little bit different, but sometimes can we just slide under a pipe? Just throwing it out there.
Health and safety says you can't climb over or climb under pipes.
Look, I assure you the pipe is well situated and it has a good foundation. I can climb under it. In the new system, junctions are entirely unimportant as segment only cares about the machines connected to it. When a machine is updated, its max pulling rate is limited based on the filled ratio of the connected segment. The result is much more even splitting, which is still not perfect. It's pretty damn close. And doesn't involve combinators and has less tanks.
The important thing is it doesn't eliminate the combinators, which means that my solution still works.
my solution would still work as well. And I'd have a much higher throughput because I have pumps. Okay.
Well, mine would be the same because it still has pumps, and mine would be balanced.
But yours also be delayed by a tick. So in the old system,
Um,
junctions would be particularly bad when machines were starved for input fluid. The fuel plant is getting much more larger share of the oxidizer of the plant, which doesn't really help us because we don't understand any of these machines or what their recipes are. But you're obviously ice in, which is going to give us water. You are the fuel station, which needs
one's the
water,
fuel generator.
and then you're the oxidizer, which is the blue one.
One's the oxygen.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're winning and you're losing, which is good for you
It's
and
such a
sucks for you.
classic thing is just to have one of them stuttering for absolutely no reason over the other one.
Look, if you're running the fuel to an engine, which is obvious, then it's going to self-balance anyway. Because if you end up with too much oxidizer, too much fuel and not enough oxidizer, it's not going to run. So eventually...
Yeah, eventually it's going to start adding more of the other one.
Yeah, eventually this one will get full, and then this one will have to get whatever's left over. And that'll be enough to balance it out. Like, it's just how these things work. They just need to... It's Factorio. You just need to run things for longer until it self-balances, okay? Don't have to worry about pipes and direction and flow. Just self-balance or add more or add a pump. So, in the new system, both plants get much more equal share of the fluid, which is good. Now we can see they're both starved equally. I'm not sure how that's better, but they're both starved equally. That's my takeaway.
So I hate to be all, perfectly thought out and sensible and everything, but I suspect this is the real reason for doing the rework is specifically for fluids on platforms.
Specifically because you don't really want to have a tank full of 25,000, 2,500 fluid, 2,500 fuel, and have zero oxidizer.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that's the reason as well.
I bet this is pretty much the motivator of it.
And
or at least the straw that broke the camel's back.
And my
not
answer...
so much the Endgame legendary builds, I think, because we've had the equivalent of Endgame legendary builds forever.
If it's not one build, it's 2 or 3 builds combined together. Like, I've done oil refineries with where are we? This build multiple times, and like that's 1,000. That's about 1,000 petroleum, and I'll have 5 or 6 of them. And I'll just have 5 or 6 pipes that are all running in parallel, and they merge up in a tank, and then they split back out after, I've used that much petroleum.
After it goes through the sufficient number of pumps that you need to make it work.
Yeah, it's a lot of pumps. It's fine. They're automated. I just ghost one down, and a bot brings it over. I don't even well, early game, I just craft 50 of them, and that's good for a very long time, because you're not at that end game where you're using pumps all the time. And then by the time I get to end game, they're automated. So I just ghost one. It's just on the hotbar. I just place it, and then a bot shows up and takes care of it. The answer for this thing, rather than going and refactoring all the fluids, is plug this inserter into this tank and say, if over 1,000, stop adding in fuel. Or probably actually that inserter to that tank and that inserter to that tank, and say, if this is under 1,000, don't add, and under 1,000, don't add. And then some sort of
don't want to
overflow.
cross-couple them like that.
Well, some sort of overflow, so they're guaranteed to both do something if they're both empty.
You really just want to stop the fuel, or you want a difference thing where if one gets too full, you want to turn the other off.
Yeah, that's more combinators. I just wait for the tank to get full. Honestly, keep things simple. If the tank's full, it's going to run fine. Yeah.
And that's what this does.
So, in the old systems, pipes require an auto maintain a higher throughput. However, it almost never worked as you would expect. No, this works perfectly fine. What we're going to see a train arrive. It's going to unload, and then once all these tanks are empty, that means the train is empty and the train will leave and play. Train arrives. This tank was not... Okay. Australian Internet's doing well today. Refresh!
Your kookaburra's on the wire again.
Yeah.
Can we also take a minute to appreciate the fact that this has nearly the correct number of pumps in the unload station? Like, this is what it should look like with pumps.
It should look like the video's loading. Oh, it really doesn't load me.
It's not about it today.
I've had to reload this page like 5 times. No, like, the problem is, like, there's 2 pumps here, there's 3 pumps here. I'm not
I mean,
sure
there are gaps for where stuff merges. I mean, it's not
why.
perfect, but it would definitely benefit from combinator logic on the tanks to even out the distribution. Because of the way the old system works, it always pulls from. I mean, admittedly, in this case, it will always pull from the closest tanks first and leave the other ones full.
Yeah, to pull from the closest,
But,
which is going to be this one every time.
Yeah, but if there was less pumps, then the bottom second from the left would be full, empty first, whereas the others would all be full.
Bottom
in the
second
old
from
system.
left.
Yeah, just that random one there would be emptying first for some reason.
Okay. It's because that's the order that you put things down in. Okay.
Yes, that's where the order comes from.
Yep.
That's why it's so annoying.
This system works perfectly fine. It's just waiting for the train to be empty of oil, and the only way the train is empty of oil is if the station's empty of oil. The station's not empty of oil, and this is why this is not working. So is my internet. Can I do open video new tab? Oh, and now it runs fine. Cool.
There you go.
So this fills up,
Flame
this fills up, and these can't empty because this is empty. We can't get rid of it.
Pulling from the front two first.
Yeah. And the answer is like this should all be pulled together first, and then kicked out together. Like
Combinators to balance the
the
unload.
No. Combinators require wires. Wires require smarts. I'm not smart enough for that. So what you need to do.
Smarts requires flamethrower.
No. Mojo, please. We have nuclear weapons now. We solve things peacefully from a distance of at least 35 tiles. All right, so and now that's fine.
Providing there's no lag in between, or some trees to stop you from running away.
Nah.
When someone tricks you into tab space.
No. The best one is you find someone who has running around with rocket launcher and ask them what does space do. That generally does the trick.
Yes.
Yep. So new system is going to unload a lot more evenly. Funny thing is, can we loop the clip, please? I didn't see. So they have fluid in them.
Yeah, it already has fluid in them, which is kind of inconvenient.
And it tops up.
But you see it all sort of top up and then empty evenly.
And then empty evenly. Yeah.
You also notice the one sad thing about this is there's no pumps.
There's no pumps.
But yeah.
You still need a pump here and a pump here to like force this to be empty. Like these could have more fluid in them, and they could potentially stop the next train coming in. You should have a pump here and a pump here. That way you can get a correct read on the tanks on whether there's enough room to bring in another train.
But the system is just balancing it out as it is across all of the tanks instantly. That's what I'm seeing in this video.
It needs more pumps. So, as we come back to our favorite chemical plant setup, the setup doesn't work because the petroleum is getting tied up in the output pipe. Yes, we can't get the petroleum out fast enough.
It's actually a petroleum output issue.
Yeah. Well, technically, it's also a light oil in issue.
To a lesser extent, yes.
But like there is the green bars is whether it has liquid in it. So these have petroleum in them. They're like maxed out.
Yeah. So they're actually maxed out. The blue bar is how much is coming out, and so nothing is coming out.
Yeah. So like it pumps on both ends. Like you just split it in half. Pumps on either end.
Just for every pair, you would put a pump.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. You'd have.
And then you would spread it out.
So
it's got spreading out into two tiles. In fact, there's one optimization missing. There is that you know underneath and straight pipe in, and then try and just try and squeeze that other pipe in.
No. So what
you have out from both sides.
What you pull it out from both sides. That's number one, and then this would be an underground, and this would be an underground up, and then you go pump here. This tile and this tile.
Yes.
So like it'd be you and you into two different fluid boxes, and then into a pump, and then into two tiles, but they're not a straight tile, but they're an underground tile. It makes a difference. And then we get more petroleum, and then underground out to a pump, and that means this pump's like way out here somewhere. Preferably straight into a tank, because that gives you a big fluid box that you can fill up, which you can then take somewhere via pumps. Many pumps. In the new system now.
So I should actually point out, in case anyone's wondering, these are the hoops you have to jump through to deal with the current system, and that's why this is such a good change.
This is the things that we have learnt after building
these are our coping mechanisms for our fluid PTSD.
No, I don't have fluid PSD. Okay, I have heard.
Oh, you just have fluid PMS. Okay.
You done? I have heard many people complain about fluids whilst playing Factorio, and the answer is always add a pump.
Yes,
Does it work yet? Add another pump. Does it work yet? Add another pump. It's the same as when somebody says, I'm trying to add signals to my intersection, it doesn't work. And the answer is add a chain signal. Does it work? No. Add another chain signal. Does it work now? No. Add another chain signal. Keep adding chain signals. Okay? Just keep as long as they're on the correct side of the track, add more chain signals. If it's flashing at you weird, it means it needs a friend. Add another one. Eventually, you end up with a situation where you have a nice simple T intersection that has 12 chain signals, but it works. And then you have a situation where it works and you have a base that you can learn from rather than go, my intersection doesn't work, this game sucks, I'm never using trains again. And you see people try and launch a rocket where they are belting stuff like 500 tiles across the map because they don't know how to use trains. Add a chain signal. Don't know how fluids work? Add a pump. It's not hard. You just add a pump, add a chain signal. Okay? And
just got to apply yourself.
You got to have a system that works, and then you can work out why it works, and then you can work out why you're an idiot and why it wasn't working and how you did it wrong. That's all you need to do. All right? So add a pump, add a chain signal. That's how things work. And this is the systems that we've come up with doing stupid mega bases. We have an oil refinery that outputs like 5,000 petroleum per minute as a module, and I'm stamping down 4 of these because
it's
I need
not
that
a lot
much.
until it's per second.
Oh, did I say per minute? Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I meant per second.
Yeah.
I played too many games which are measured on a per minute scale. Yeah, per second. Yeah.
I think my record was like 5.5 million crude oil per minute.
I have. What's that?
Actually, it might be more than that.
That's like 100,000 per second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah. Look, I did a base that did like 10 rockets per minute or something. That is so heavy in petroleum, it's ridiculous. But it's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. You just need to add more pumps. Add more pumps, add more beacons, add more modules. Really wish that a beacon would affect the pump and make the pump go faster, or make the pipe go faster, or something go faster, but it only makes the machine go faster.
Pipe to make it go faster.
I tried that. It didn't work.
We've got Cloner's lube. You might as well use it.
Well, I tried that. It didn't work. But yes, look, there are ways to deal with the current fluid system. I know it's not perfect. I do admit the new system sounds great, and it sounds like an improvement, and I'm very, very interested in it. The thing that I'm probably most interested in having is currently in the current Factorio fluid system, and this one is something that Mojo will remember. If we go back up to this image, if you don't have a pump, because pumps force direction and flow, if you have a tank and you connect that to a pipe, the fluid comes all the way up to this end and then slams into the end of the pipe and then flows backward.
Yes, it then goes backwards and then ripples back and forth multiple times.
Yes. So
And
that
over the course of like 20 seconds for that sort of length of pipe, or maybe 20 seconds, a bit of an exaggeration, but it'll just keep bouncing back and forth, and forth.
It will keep going back and forth and forever, and this is why we have pumps, so that forces a flow. Also, it means that the end pipe will be full of liquid before the pipe before that ends up being full of liquid before the pipe, because you have a situation where everything backs up. But that's going to be probably one of the biggest things. You don't have that liquid pipe spam. I can't remember. There is a term that's in Factorio. I know it's a liquid hammer, which is what it is in real life. Sloshing. It's sloshing. That's the word. Yeah. So we won't have sloshing in Factorio anymore, which I think is going to be the biggest deal. People don't realize, but sloshing is really annoying and really bad, and you fix it with a pump.
It looks nice if you're not building things, but at the same time, means you're not building things.
It's frustrating. It's just frustrating because you look at a pipe and you click on a pipe and you're like, oh yeah, there's 10 million oil in this pipe or whatever it happens to be. The problem is you're looking at the right-hand end and the oil's at the left-hand end because it came and hit this end and then flowed backward because you hadn't got everything plugged in the meantime, so it could start sucking out and going on to the next spot. It's just annoying. So a new system is very large step back in the terms of realism, which I'm fine with, of the current fluid system in Factorio. But as a game designer, you can always make trade-offs between what would make sense in the real world and what is fun for a game. Assembly machines abstract away the enormous amount of work that goes in real-life automation and puts it in a neat little box, a neat identical box. That's the important thing. I need the exact same box to make a rocket silo as I do a gear. I don't think it's like that in real life. Or a tank. Of both types. Yep. Similarly, the new fluid system gives you the behavior you would expect from a pipeline, whilst abstracting all of the real details of fluid flow. It's very fun system to play with. There are many interesting possibilities with this system we did not predict, and we'll share some of our stories in future Friday Facts. I might also go some detail about the architect of this new system and how I approach the refactor in another time. There are still a few details that remain work in progress, but the new system as a whole works very well. We can't wait for you to get your hands on it. As always, share your thoughts in the usual places. It needs more pumps. That's my only thought.
Yes. So pumps solve everything.
Pumps do solve everything. Pumps and tanks. Just pumps, tanks, pumps.
As a final note, probably the best place to go is the 4 tanks. They're splitting out.
Yep.
There. So in the original system, you'll see the fluid is flowing in a direction.
Oh, yeah, we forgot to mention that. Yes.
Yes.
So,
and if you go to the other one, it's not flowing in a direction.
Well,
it's actually flowing up.
It's flowing up. It's flowing in a direction. The direction happens to be up unless you're looking at the pipe that happens to be in the middle where it's going to the right. Because that's up as far as that pipe's concerned from its orientation. Yes.
Yes.
So
in its current form, it doesn't have any directionality, but it has been remarked that these are placeholders and that will change.
I actually don't think
we'll
they
likely
should
see
change.
the directionality again.
I don't really care about the directionality.
Before too many more people start ripping dicks.
No, I really don't care about the directionality.
I don't care about the directionality, but for the people who do, it is being fixed.
The indicator window is it shouldn't be there for direction. It should be there for flow rate. Okay? That's the real thing. All right? If we go up to this one, we can see like this is like quarter full, but it has so little in it that you can never really tell if it's flowing left or right without really stopping and staring at it and probably zooming in. This one I can definitely see it's moving, and I can definitely see it's moving quickly. I get that impression from a glance. That's what I want on all the pipes. I don't care about direction so much. It's more about flow speed. That's what really matters. Like, do you care if that's going right or left?
I'd like to know if it's going in the right direction.
Well, you've got a pump somewhere.
Most of the time it doesn't matter.
You've got a pump somewhere.
I mainly just want to know that it's moving. That's all I care about.
Yep, and speed? Does speed matter?
The speed, I'd like to at least have it represent the volume that is moving, because if it's not moving, then it means there's a problem that I can see at a glance, because that's all I ever used the animation for, was to see if it was stopped. Well, there's 2 reasons. One, to see if the correct fluid was actually in there.
Well, that's
if
important.
you're expecting to see water and you see brown, then you know something's horrendously wrong.
Yes. You forgot to when you flushed the toilet, you hooked in the pipes wrong. Yes, Mojo.
The in pipe was connected to the out pipe.
It happens. It's sometimes, it
happens. Yeah.
Yep.
If you met the average Australian plumber, it's a pretty common problem.
Okay, so I think it's about flow speed and the right liquid. I don't think directionality matters, because you're assuming, if we go back to our very first example, you're assuming that all the pipes on the bottom are going to the left, and you're assuming all the pipes on the right are going at the top are going to the right. Now, if you see a window here and it's moving very fast, that means there's lots of fluid. You're not going to assume it's going, like, even if the picture said that it was going to the left, i.e., my cracking is consuming petroleum, like, you'd look at that for 2 seconds ago, that's entirely wrong. It's not doing that. All right? Like, you'll know that this creates X item being petroleum, and therefore it's leaving and going to the right, because that's the only exit. So I think an indicator for flow speed matters. Directionality doesn't, because we now have ambidextrous pipes that can go in any different direction at the same time. This is why these have animations going up, because they're simulating.
It's placeholder. It's not finished.
I realize it's a placeholder, but at the end of the day,
The point is, for you, it doesn't matter.
For me, it doesn't matter, and I don't think it matters for you either.
No, it doesn't for me. Main thing I just wanted to point out was for the people who it does matter, it is a placeholder.
I honestly don't think it matters to anybody. Nobody is going
I
to.
have a feeling it's annoy. Like I say, I have a feeling. I'm pretty confident that it's actually a very small minority. There's not actually that many people
Yeah,
care.
like I like if you have a, let's go worst case scenario. If you have a main bus of pipes, okay, and you have petroleum going in two different directions for plastic and I don't know what else uses petroleum. Plastic. It's been a while since I played Factorio. Plastic.
I had to stop and pause about that one for a minute. I was like, plastic down the old plastic down the pipe.
Yeah, plastic. I can't think of what else uses petroleum. But like even heavy oil. Heavy oil goes into
Batteries. So sulfuric acid.
Yeah, okay. So petroleum is going into either plastic or sulfuric acid. The fact that even if you have them both meeting a T intersection and one's going to the left and one's going to the right, if the windows on the right, the animation's moving faster, you can say, okay, most of the fluid's going to the right and not all of it's going to the left. Why is not all of it going to the left? The animation's still moving, and obviously the sulfuric acid on the left is not making petroleum and putting it in that pipe for it to go to the right, and it's definitely not going to go back to the refineries. So we have a simple in and out. The directionality of the fluid little window doesn't matter. It's the flow rate. It's 100% the flow rate. So yeah, I think going up is a great idea, because this is going to be much easier to see whether you have a pipe that's very full or very empty. The window is always going to be always blue in this case because it's water, and it just means that the animation is going to play faster the more it's moving. Which means we no longer have this situation where I have a drib of liquid in there and I'm not sure what that liquid is. Because there are
I mean, if you saw that, you would just throw pumps at it anyway.
Oh yeah, I would. I would, 100%. 100%. Well, actually, no, I'd throw more source material in. I need more coming in to make sure all these are full. And therefore, I can see what's in the pipes at a glance because they're all full. But yeah, like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Directionally, I don't think it matters. It's about flow rate. Flow rate and easily identifiable from a distance, even if a pipe has just a drop of liquid in it, especially if this video show controls. This video, it takes so long for them to empty. I need to know that there's a little bit of liquid in this pipe that won't load the video. That's going to be important too. Because this takes 30 seconds to drain. This takes 30 seconds to move the liquid. This takes 30 seconds to drain. So yeah, I think having all the windows full and the animation speed decides how quickly liquids are moving is going to be way more important than how full a pipe is. Anyway, what else? Anything else?
No, that's it. That's it for the FFF as well.
That's it for the FFF. That's it for us and Lube. And that is, bite us next week. That's my guess. What do you got, Mojo?
Yeah. I don't even know anymore. This one. I can stretch it to say I kind of predicted it, but I really didn't call it.
You didn't call fluids. You didn't call. We'd both written off fluids as ever being fixed. They were a Factorio staple. That you needed tanks, you needed pumps.
Kavorex had put his foot down before saying we need sloshing on the forum. I think on the forums years ago.
Yeah.
And it had been, as we pointed out, had been attempted many times.
But we only brought up 4, but twice before that.
Yeah, that was only the key ones. There's been many more before.
Yeah. There's been a few. So predictions next week.
I don't even know what to call anymore. I mean, maybe I'll go with the last week again.
New planet?
That we might see something more with the platforms, how the platforms work.
Okay. My prediction is going to be stomp, stomp, stomp. I want to know what happens at the end of stomp, stomp, stomp.
I mean, we all want to know what happens at the end of stomp, stomp, stomp.
But that's all I care about.
Maybe we'll get the next step in.
Friday Facts start with the word stomp. Yep. What?
Have we had the MOS, the moldy signature machine yet?
Yeah, it's the planting machine.
Yeah, the plant machine. Have they talked about it in detail though? Because we only had the spoils of agriculture. Had the actual.
This machine.
So we've seen the machine.
We've seen the machine.
Biochamber, the moldy machine.
Yeah.
But we haven't been introduced to it formally yet.
No, we have. It does the crafty thing. It makes the fuely thing. It makes the science packs.
It does, yeah. They haven't told us about the jelly cubes.
That's true. You reckon we're
So
gonna
I
come
think
back to
that
this machine,
is
this planet?
because in previous FFFs where they show us the planet, they specifically introduced us to the foundry and the electromagnetic machine.
Okay.
So I
You
think
reckon we're gonna have the next week is gonna be on the machine of gas, the machine of gas.
the mold maker,
Yep.
yes, I
Okay.
think that's what we're leaning into.
All right, fine. That's what I'm going to hold you to. All right. Well, that's it for this week's Friday Facts. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you in next week for more Friday Facts with me and Mojo and maybe another ball of lube. We'll see. Anyway, that's it. We're out. See you next one. Bye.
Bye bye.